glad that you can join us and hope that you have a great time making this gnome with us this evening. If you were able to, hopefully came and picked up one of our kits. If you watched this video and didn't get a kit, we do still have some available, and you can stop by, just call the office, let them know when you're going to be coming in, and we have kits that you can get. Unfortunately, the supplies in the kit are pretty much sold out. Everything in the kit you can get from Dollar Tree. I didn't get quite everything there, but you can use products that are entirely from Dollar Tree. And if you are a Dollar Tree shopper, you know that if you want something to craft with for Christmas, you better buy it in October, the day it hits the shelf, because it'll be gone in 2 weeks. So anyway, we are glad you're here. We'd like to remind you that we are a nonprofit and do rely on your donations. If you enjoyed this program this evening, please try to remember us in your holiday giving this year. How to do that will scroll across the bottom of the screen. Or if you have any questions, if you're watching us at a later date, you can text them into the email address that scrolls across the bottom. Or if you're watching us live, please just type them in the comments. Jason is here. He will let me know that there's a question and he will read it for me. So I'm going to unpack my kit. Everybody should have in their kit 2 mittens, 1 hat, 2 trees from the dollar store. I'm going to back up a half second. I bought fleece because I always have fleece at my house. So really I went down my basement and got fleece. You can buy remnants of fleece at the craft stores, the fabric stores. It's very inexpensive. Or you can buy a fleece scarf at Dollar Tree for $1 and you'll have enough to make your hat and mittens. So very inexpensive. The guys here were nice enough to cut me 4x4 chunks of wood to set your gnome up in. You need some kind of a base to put him in. I've done it last year when I made gnomes. I was able to find little red sparkly boots at the Dollar Tree, and I filled them with rocks and with pea gravel and stuck the 2 trees in those. This year they didn't have them. You can use a flower pot full of pea gravel. Just make sure you cover the hole at the bottom, or every time you pick it up, pea gravel will fall out the hole in the bottom of your pot. So make sure you do all those things. Every kit should have a nose. This is about a 2-inch ball. They come in a tube from the Dollar Tree, and you get like 7 of them in the tube. But you can use any ornament you might have at home. It doesn't have to be silver sparkly. I use 2 ribbons to help cover the wires that I use to attach the mittens to the tree, just because I don't like the wires showing. So there should be 2 ribbons in your kit. There should also be wire. You're going to wire the nose on and both mittens. And then, like I said, with the mittens, I like to cover them up with the ribbon. So I'm going to set the bag aside, and I'm going to start with the fun part. With these, I was empowered by Jason and used the drill press and drilled holes down into them after he helped me figure out which size drill bit to use. Unless you're planning to take your gnome totally apart, you certainly don't need to save this bag. And you have no need for the little Christmas tree stands. So this is one of the trees. You want to take this round portion that's at the bottom, it unscrews, because obviously this isn't going to fit in those holes. And then you put one in the hole. Stick it down in there. And don't worry if it's a little wobbly. By the time you use both of them, they'll come together just fine. I did not look on these pieces to see if they say if they're recyclable plastic or not. So you should probably throw them away, because if you watched our recycling class, you know that putting things in that you shouldn't put in isn't the best. So make sure you dump those out of your box and dispose of them in a non-recycling manner. So here's my second tree. You kind of want to take it, because you're going to cozy these 2 trees up to make one new tree. So as you can see, I kind of pulled those branches from one side. One just fell off. Don't worry about it. We'll still have plenty. And I'm going to do the same thing with this side so that I can get both trees to stand as close together as I possibly can. If you want to and you feel like your trees are wobbly, you can actually wire them together also. I haven't ever found I really needed to, especially once you put the nose on, because I wire the nose through both sides. But you can see mine's pretty sturdy just from sticking them both in the base. So the next thing you want to do is fluff your tree, just like an artificial tree. You want to make sure all those branches get separated so your gnome has a nice full body. So it's going to take me a second here. Somebody sing some Christmas carols. We should have had Christmas music playing, huh? I decorate my gnome. I originally made them for Christmas time last year. And then I liked him so much that I decorated him for Valentine's Day and for Easter. I made rabbit ears for him for Easter, and he had a little basket. For 4th of July, he had a little American flag. So you can use this not just for the upcoming holidays. The only thing I didn't put him out for, I think, was Thanksgiving, because I didn't know how to turn him into a turkey. Maybe I could have made him a pilgrim, but you guys are all creative. Think of some way to make him so that you can use him for every holiday. I am going to take one of my little tiny pieces of wire and this is just paddle wire. If you do any other crafts, it's the kind that comes on that little paddle. You can buy it at Dollar Tree for $1. You'll have a lifetime supply of it. It's got quite a bit of wire on it, and you don't need much. I just kind of think it might just sturdy it up a little bit. So just kind of pick a spot, tuck that wire in, and twist it around. The wire is green. It's not going to show. And I'm just kind of twisting it round and round like you would a bread tie. These are close enough together that you could probably use a bread tie if that's what you have at home, or a piece of silver wire or whatever it is you might have. So after you get your tree, and it obviously doesn't look perfect at this point in time, but you have to kind of decide which is the front. And I think I'm going to choose this side right here to be the front, because I would like his feet to look like feet and not like he's standing on one leg like a flamingo. So I'm going to take another piece of wire and my nose, put the wire through the loop at the end of the ornament. And this will help secure your trees together also. And you're going to pull that nose right in there, okay? If you're not sure where you want to put your nose, do your hat first. But I've made enough that I kind of know how far down I want my nose. And I'm just twisting it together again like last time, because you really can't see it, and it's fine. And then you're going to kind of make the branches, instead of sticking out like a Christmas tree, you're going to want them to hang down, because this is your gnome's body. So you kind of turn it around, fluff it out. You need as few as possible up here at the top, because his hat's going to cover them up. So push all those down. Make him look like he's got a nice full body. In your kit, most of the hats will be sewn together. There are a few kits that have glued together hats, because my sewing machine was not my friend the other night. So you want to take your hat, unless you like the seams showing, and turn your hat inside out. You can take a pencil, a screwdriver, your finger. You can actually use a piece of the Christmas tree and poke that pointy part of the hat out so that it is pointy. With the gnomes I made last year, I found some cute little, almost like package tie-ons at Dollar Tree, and sewed like a snowflake on the end or glued them on. There again, use something you have around the house, a little ornament. Cut something out of paper, paper snowflakes will work just fine. So you get your hat, and I'm going to turn this around and try to do this backwards. I roll the brim some because the hat's nice and big. So you kind of just, I took it and folded some over. And yes, the seam is going to show, but nobody's going to pay any attention to it by the time you get done. And you fold it a couple times, however long you want your hat to be. And you put your hat on the gnome. Now you have these nice two long ones. There again, just because tonight they seem to want to be floppy, I twisted them together and bent them over, and that's making that gnome even sturdier. Pull the hat down over your gnome, down to his nose. I have to turn him around to see what he looks like. Yeah, there he is. So his hat is on. You can stuff it if you want it to stand up. Plastic bags work great. Newspaper works great. Fiber fill works great. Or you can let it, dangle off to the side. He's your gnome. Make him yours. Same with the mittens. I'm going to turn them right side out. At the end of the video, there will be a list of supplies and dimensions that I used to make the hat and the mittens. But if you want a bigger hat, make him bigger. If you want bigger mittens, make bigger mittens. If you want gloves, you can buy baby ones at the Dollar Tree and just use those. But out of a Dollar Tree scarf, you should be able to get the hat and the mittens. I actually made a pattern so that I would make them all the same. I used the Meyer flyer and another piece of it to make the hat and the mitten pattern if you feel like you need a pattern, or you can just draw right on your fabric because it's just fleece or felt. Those two fabrics work the best. I've tried it with flannel. Flannel doesn't have enough body to really stay upright like this is. Well, I cut a long enough piece of wire to probably attach a mitten to 23 places. So I took the mitten, I tucked it in a little bit on the end, just so it has a nice finish rather than a cut finish. So I tucked it in, and you don't have to. You can put it on just like this. We'll do that tonight for those of you who don't want to bother to tuck. And you turn him facing you, and you have to decide where his arms are. And he won't argue about where his arms are, so just pick a spot. Stick it over the branch. And I think I am going to go back and tuck mine because I think this mitten's plenty big. So in the instructions, you could probably cut your mitten quite a bit shorter. But I just wanted to be sure they were big enough. The other times, I've also made these by going to a thrift store and finding one of those like 3-foot trees and doing the same thing. I made the hat and the mittens the same size. They worked fine. If you want, these will survive outside at least one season. You might have to redo the hat and mittens or take them off at the end of the season and wash them and dry them so that they don't get moldy over the winter. So there again, I'm just taking my wire. I stuck my mitten over one branch. I'm taking the wire. I put it over the mitten. I'm pulling it so that now my gnome has a wrist. Because all gnomes need a wrist. I'm going to wrap it around twice because my wire is so long. Pull it tight. You can also put this on with a rubber band if you don't have any wire, or a piece of string, you know, be creative. You just want it to be secured to the tree. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Obviously, you want your hands about the same height, but they don't have to be perfect. You can always move those tree branches around and make them wherever you want them just by wiggling the branches. I think that's too tall. But I'm going to put it on right here. So there again, I tucked a good, probably 1/2 inch of it inside the mitten because I think they're too long. If you don't think they're too long, don't do that. Another piece of wire. Attach that glove. If you're going to use your gnome outside, make sure you really do attach things. You've all experienced the winds we've had in the past week, and you don't want your hat or mitten to go blowing away. If you use it outside, you can punch a little hole in the hat, like down inside the brim, and wire that hat to it. If you're using it on an enclosed porch or in your house, nothing's going to blow it away. It will stay just fine. With my mittens, I have such long strings. I'm going to get my wire cutters and cut those wires so that I'm not wrapping them around for the next half hour. You don't need wire cutters quite this big, but it's what I have. So I'm going to snip those wires. On both sides. You also don't have to use plain red. Last year I did 25 of them for the VA hospital over in Battle Creek, and I made them all with different hats. And because of that, I had lots of red ribbon. So I'm using red ribbon even though I have red mittens. If I was doing this, I might want a Christmassy ribbon or a green ribbon or a white ribbon or something. I can turn this around so you can see. I just wrapped the ribbon around that wire. I'm going to tie a bow just like it was my shoes. Or you can just tie a knot and have 2 streamers. And he has a little bow around his mitten. And as you work on him, you're going to go, oh, he needs to be fluffed out here. He needs to be fluffed out there. He has a bare spot, whatever. Just keep fluffing. It's fine. I try to pull them down so that his nose is visible. And we'll tie that other mitten. You can also use a pipe cleaner to attach your things, especially if you're going to cover them up with the ribbon. Because if you only have a bright pink pipe cleaner, you might not want it showing on your colored mitten. You can also buy pipe cleaners that are look like pine. That's what this is. It's not a piece of the tree. It looks like a piece of the tree, but it isn't. So you
Dorothy Jordan has a question.
Yes, Dorothy.
What size drill bit did you use for drilling the wood block?
Jason, that's a good question for you because I bet neither one of us remember. We took the tree, we held it up to a drill bit until we found one that was slightly bigger or smaller. Bigger?
I think it was slightly bigger.
Slightly bigger. And thank goodness, because we were here at work, we had some scrap wood so we could try different size holes. The other thing is that this block has, you know, a top and a bottom. So if you drill too big, just flip it over and drill smaller on top. You can also drop a little wood glue down in there if you think your gnome is wobbly.
Dorothy, if you really want to know, I will go look and figure out which one it was and let you know.
But Dorothy, you've taken power tool class. You can figure this out. Be empowered. Welcome to Community Homeworks. So the other thing I like to do, and because it's on this lovely tablecloth, I'm going to put him on the pattern, is I think he needs a beard. So you can buy craft paint at Walmart in a little plastic tube. It's 50 cents. At the Dollar Tree, it's the same paint and it's $1. Though I haven't bought paint at Walmart lately, so it may have gone up to, 69 cents or something. I don't know. I happen to have this white paint at home, so that's what I brought. A paintbrush. You see the paintbrush? And you don't want a lot of paint. You kind of almost want a dry brush. And you go, beard. And you kind of just make it wherever you want it, however painted you want it. I think I'm going to paint this one also. Just if you have on your good clothes, put an apron on or something, because painting on this artificial pine does splatter, and you don't want paint to go like all over this tablecloth on our table or all over my clothes, but my clothes are okay. They'll be fine. But there went paint onto the tablecloth. So we'll clean that up when I'm done. And now he has a little beard. A quick, easy, inexpensive project. Most of you probably have a flower pot at home, and you can buy pea gravel at Lowe's. You can go out and probably find rocks around your house in the driveway or in the yard or in the garden. And you can fill that flower pot with the rocks and drop the gnome down in it. Trees are $1 a piece. A scarf is $1. You get lots of ornaments for $1, and you probably have that at home too. And most everybody owns some white paint from somewhere, so you can paint his beard. You could put a little tree skirt around the bottom of the gnome if you don't like whatever you've put him in. You could paint this, you could stain it, since this is wood, but you could paint your flower pot. Or if you're going to do this next year, you could watch for the boots were so cute, and they said happy holidays on the side and everything, which I picked off once it was past Christmas because it looked too Christmassy to me. So this is the gnome. It took us 20 minutes, 25 minutes, quick, easy, cute, nice little gift, cute hostess gift, cute gift for a teacher. And there again, you can stuff his hat and make him taller. You could not roll it up as much, but rolling it kind of gives it some stability at the bottom to sit on the gnome. Are there any other questions? This has got to be the easiest thing you could possibly make for the holidays. And there again, very inexpensive. We do still have some kits left. Every Dollar Tree I know of in town is out of the trees unless they got some in the last day or two. As I said earlier, if you want holiday crafts from Dollar Tree, you better be there the day they put them on the shelf or you won't find them. Last year I had people in 4 different cities hunting for boots until I got enough boots for the VA hospital ones. But he can have a red nose, he can have a silver nose, he could have a gold nose, he could have a purple nose. You know, let your kids have fun. They can put decorations all over his hat if you want to. Last year for Valentine's Day, there it is, I made cutout hearts from some colored paper. punched holes in them, made a little heartstring, and took a straight pin, though I could have just untied his mittens, and hung that on him for Valentine's Day. All done. New season. I bought the headband rabbit ears at Dollar Tree, took him off the headband and wired him to his head so he had rabbit ears. I think for Halloween I just took a big round circle of white from an old sheet and just draped it over and painted eyes on it for a ghost. So you couldn't tell my gnome was underneath, but he became a Halloween decoration. As I said, for 4th of July, I had a little flag, and I just put it in his hand, wired it on. He was already red, so it still was patriotic looking. The only thing I didn't do was Thanksgiving. I think maybe by then I was tired of looking at my gnome on my front porch. Does anyone have any questions?
Emily Greenman Wright wants to know, she said, my children want to know if he will come alive.
Only if they wish hard enough. No, he will not. He will not, run away or haunt you at night, either one. Emily, I want to know, have you worked along with this tonight with your kids? Have your kids tried to do this? And then I saw Karen Smith's name come up.
Karen Smith wants to know, she said, I think I may try this. How do I get a kit?
Karen, I will bring one to you someday this week because I know you're without a car right now.
That's all the questions.
I want an answer from Emily if she's had her kids actually try this. But maybe she's busy helping them do something. But Emily's children are what, 6 and 9, 6 and 11, 7 and they've grown up because I haven't seen them for a couple of years, so I'm not real sure how old they are anymore.
Emily said we're working together on it. Thank you, Jean.
Oh, good. So if anyone has picked up a kit and has made one or gets a kit later this week and makes one, we'd love to have you send us a picture. You can email it to the address that should be scrolling across the screen. It's not scrolling across mine because I can only see what I'm doing. But we'd love to see what you've made. The other thing we'd like to remind you is that we are still having our gingerbread contest, gingerbread house contest. If you go on our Facebook page, there were pictures of ones we made as staff. And you can make your own. We have lovely trophies. Our contest ends, I believe it's Sunday night, right? At midnight, Saturday or Sunday night. You have a chance to win this lovely trophy from us by submitting your entry. There are 5 different categories. One is home design. One is people's choice. One is kids 12 and under. So again, a project for you and your children. The judge's choice and iconic structures in Kalamazoo. We have had one entry that was Waldo Stadium. Just people are going crazy with it. We love it. If you need to get a kit, I believe they're on sale at Meijer this week, and I highly recommend the Wilton one because it comes already pre-assembled, which is much less frustrating than having to make the walls and the roof stand up on your own. Aldi also had some kits. Jason, you haven't tried doing those yet with your kids, have you? Have you? Okay. So Aldi, the Wilton ones are back in the Wilton cake decorating part. They are not in the front of the store with the Christmas ornaments and decorations. Those you have to assemble, but they have the ones you have to assemble too. If you want to build a bigger structure than just that house, I highly recommend buying 2 assemble yourself kits, and then you can make a bigger house. You'll have 8 sides and 4 roof pieces, and you can go at it. All of the kits include some decorations to make your house, gives you a good foundation to start with, or you can add anything from your baking cupboard, sprinkles, colored sugar, chocolate icing. When I made my house with staff, I colored my icing red and made a red house, because I didn't want a brown house or a white house. So have at it, have fun with it, but we'd love to see either your gnome or your gingerbread house. Please do email those to us. Maybe you'll win, who knows? Unfortunately, we're not having a gnome contest, but you're looking like there might be another question. Oh, okay, he was looking at his screen. Thank you for joining us this evening. It didn't last an hour, but it doesn't take an hour, so it's a quick, easy craft. Next week, we will have a class on troubleshooting your furnace, so that hopefully you can take care of any issues you might have with your furnace and not have to call a repairman over the holidays. Lee will be here and be showing you tricks of how to understand your furnace on our first here at Community Homeworks. It will be our last class until after the first of the year. We're going to take holiday time off and enjoy our families and the holidays, and hope that you do too. The office will be closed from the 24th through the 1st. We'll open back up, I believe it is on the 2nd. But if you have an emergency, you can call someone, and we'll be checking the phone lines. So if you have something you can't handle on your own, please do call us. And then join us again next year for classes. And we're glad you came this evening. Again, if you need to do some generosity, we appreciate any kind of donation you can send to us. It's what makes these classes and our services available. So I hope you have a great holiday season. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Anything else, Jason, I need to say? He says no. So thanks again. We'll see you next week. Bye.